looks like I've missed that squall. Heck, fuck. That's it disappearing in the distance down there. Look at the fucking thing. That would have been angry in that. Anyway, so that's it disappearing. It passed me to the north. There's another one there. That's coming more directly to me. It doesn't look as bad as the other one though. Right, hello. It's still Monday. It's Monday. Weirdly, the wind has changed. It's coming from the east, or just short of the east, 80 degrees. Which wasn't supposed to happen for another 2 days. I think Thursday. We're getting about 9 knots now, so we've got 9 knots. So I've turned the engine off. I've got both the sails up, the Genoa and the main. Anyway, right. And we're just tootling along at like 3 knots, downwind, nice and flat. The sea state, as you can see, is we have blue skies. It's really rather pleasant. It's 3:30, something like that, in the afternoon. We're still meandering downwind. I think we're still averaging about 3 knots. It goes up and down, but we're still averaging about 3 knots. But the old AIS alarm went off a moment ago, and then there was this chap coming along, which is the motor vessel Arklow. So my faith in well, at least this way, he is keeping a watch, and he did see me, and he has changed course to pass to my stern. The AIS alarm picked this thing up at 4.9 miles away, which sounds quite a lot, but that wasn't very long ago. So at the speed that he's going, that's like, well, from when it first went off was 18 minutes. By the time you've spotted it, and he was just a little blip on the horizon, like maybe 10 minutes ago, he's passing behind me now. Yeah, so I mean, this has just been a bit of a thing for me now. I've had 2 nights now. There's just really been nothing much of shipping. There's been some fishing vessels, and they don't really move that fast. And then, but that thing's like purposefully going somewhere in a straight line. So I'm kind of thinking, as we get towards A Corunna, at the end of the journey, when you're at the most tired and all this, then you're going to get loads of them cargo ships in and out of there. So like when you're at your lowest ebb, then that's when you need to be your most vigilant. Alright, right, so this is going into the 3rd night. It's about 6:30 in the morning on day 4, 3. I'll tell you, Tuesday today. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Day 4 of what's turning into an odyssey. Right, so I mean, based upon the weather forecast, I was expecting to arrive sometime during day 4. No. The hydrovane on the most sensitive setting, so that it does have half a chance of steering the boat, which does seem to be working. So there is just enough breeze. Oh my god, it's 3.7 knots, no good for anything. But there is just enough breeze to move the vane on the hydrovane to be able to steer the boat, but only when it's set on its most sensitive setting. That seems to be roughly working, and it's holding its course. It wasn't for a while. I had to hand steer for about 3 or 4 hours over the night. From about 3 o'clock in the morning till about an hour ago, I had to hand steer.
Pero claro, ya está condicionado a que la secesión para apoyar y para estar en contra del Partido Popular. Entonces, realmente.
Right, I just stopped the engine because as soon as there's no longer enough wind to steer by the wind vane, it's dropped down to under like 3 knots, so there's no wind at all. So that means that we're likely to do hand steering all day, basically, until we get some wind on Wednesday. Well, according to this, Wednesday's not too bad. We've got wind tomorrow, apparently, and then on Thursday, by midday Thursday, by 9 o'clock in the morning Thursday, it's starting to get rough. So I've got whatever's in the tank now, probably about half a tank, plus 40 litres. I think I've got 200 miles of fuel. I've knocked together a bit of an omelette with some onions and some peppers and some cheese and shit and some garlic sausage. I've scorched some bread on the fire and made some coffee. What could be better? That'll do. Okay, so I've just noticed I can see land. There's a line of cloud along the land there, and then just above it I can see the mountains poking out above the top of it. I'm not sure which mountains, it doesn't say on the chart. I'll have to have a look on Google when I get back in. But there. I've just checked, I'm 41 miles from land here, but obviously because there's bloody great big mountains now. I can see them all the way out here. So yeah, that's pretty cool. That's the first sight of land since about 8 o'clock on Saturday night, really. So yeah. Yeah, that's not bad. I'm about what am I? Halfway along the northern Spanish coast. A bit more than halfway along the northern Spanish coast at the moment. Still motoring. However, I have managed to get the wind vane and the tiller balanced so that it doesn't steer properly, but it does steer it for about 15-20 minutes, and then you have to adjust it a little bit. So you're not constantly on the tiller, which would just be massively tiresome for, you know, a long period of time. Hi, right. So at the moment, I've stopped the engine. I've put the remaining fuel in the tanks, and that's all of it went in. So I've got a full tank and no spare now. I've been running the engine since 3 o'clock this morning, and I stopped it for about an hour just to have breakfast, and then I've just stopped it now. So I've been running the engine for about 14 hours. This is forecast, this weather is forecast to last till about midnight. I'm absolutely exhausted as well. I'm going to try and get a few hours sleep now. I'm moving about 1.5, 1.7 knots. So barely moving at all. But I am moving. So before it gets, we go into the night regime, with the possibility of a load of fishing, because I'm on the shore now. Well, not on the shore, I'm like 40 miles from the shore, but the possibility of a load of fishing vessels coming out over the night, and it being potentially a busy night. Hi, right, well, sleeping isn't working. I don't know what the problem is. I think maybe I'm too tired, I don't know, but it's not working. We're getting we're doing 2 knots now. Anyway, let's have a look at the sunset. I'm feeling fairly confident at the moment that the breeze is just going to fill in a little bit now in the evening. That's really weird. This I'm just looking on the display on this camera, and it doesn't come out anywhere near as red as it is in real life. Never mind, it's still nice. Right, anyway. It's dark, clearly. Alright. We're making about 3 and a bit knots. I've actually managed to get the boat pointing in the right direction, steering itself. I actually feel loads better now that it's night time, strangely. I'm wondering whether I sat outside in the heat too much today, sunbathing, thinking how lovely this is, and maybe I'm not really a hot weather person, and that didn't do me all that much good. So made me feel a bit rough during the day, but it's really nice now. It is a stunningly beautiful night. You can see the Milky Way. Oh, hang on. You can see the Milky Way. The stars are amazing because I'm away from the light pollution. Well, yeah, here we are again. It's I don't know, I've no idea what time. Right, I just sort of like, for my moaning and whining, there are worse ways of spending your day than sitting around reading your book, really, and in the sun. So the days are like this. And then the nights are quite pleasant as well. So, you know, I'm just a little bit worried about that predicted bad weather. Although I have just for the first time, I've got a weather forecast from the Spanish Coast Guard in English on Channel 10, which was great. So they've given me a 24-hour forecast, which takes me through till 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, of force 3 or 4 with a 1 meter swell, going southeast, veering veering west to southwest. So I will only be able to use the cruising chute until the wind veers, and then it will come from the southwest, west or southwest, which is pretty much exactly where I'm going. So the longer that this southeasterly wind hangs in there, the better for me, really. Motor vessel Alderdoo, making no effort whatsoever to change course to go around me. So I'm going to switch the engine on now and motor out of his way, because he's not keeping a watch. This is a cloudless day with a mill pond sea, and I've got a massive sail up which is blue and yellow. This guy's not keeping a watch. There it goes, the cargo ship Alderdoo. I've had to drop the spinnaker, I've had to drop the cruising chute and motor out of his way, because he's just ploughing on regardless. There's a little fishing boat just gone behind him. Coming from behind him. He's just been motoring like buggering to get out of his way as well, I think. Because I noticed him before, but he wasn't moving. That little boat there. That boat there wasn't really moving, and now it feels motoring away like buggers. So there you are, Alderdoo. Twat. no problem whatsoever keeping out of the way of these things, like especially in restricted coastal waters, right? But putting it into perspective, I'm showing up there. We're in 147 meters of water. 147 meters of water. And for him to change course, because he's actually noticed that that fishing vessel and me exists in the world, it's like literally pressing a button, and he changed course by 5 degrees, and that's all it can take. What a twat. Hi, right, I'm at Navia, Navia, which is, I arrived at about 6:30 this morning, and I'm anchored about there. It says in the pilot book not to go in at night. This is the entrance here. It's a big concrete funnel kind of thing, which is lit, but it's very narrow, and the actual concrete walls can, at high tide, can be sort of swamped by the sea. But I'm kind of pretty much where that little anchor sign is there by the cliff. The law of sod has kicked in. Because this is a beautiful spot, by the way. The law of sod has kicked in, as you can see. Compared to the last few days, this is cloudy, and we've got quite a lot of wind. Actually, in fact, okay, we've got no wind at all here because I'm protected by the cliffs. So here's a view. There's the beginning of the entrance, that concrete thing there. But look at the view of the these are the Spanish Atlas Mountains, apparently. It's absolutely stunning. And these I'm anchored underneath these cliffs. But the wind is coming from exactly the direction that I'm pointing the camera in. So, I'm stood up at, on the boat now without holding on to anything. There's the lighthouse. It was flashing last night when I came in. So basically, these cliffs, and they're quite big cliffs, are protecting me from the wind. So that's why I'm currently, there is a bit of a wind, but currently on my instruments it's saying no wind. Right, plan B, C, D, E, F. I was kind of settling down to stay at anchor up there, and so basically what happened is the tide turned, and the wind is still coming from the southwest. But what happened was, when the tide turns, the wind started hooking around the promontory, the foreland, and so coming in, as it just sort of hooked around the cliff there, and so it was coming in from a more northwesterly direction, which is not good for me, because it was then potentially blowing you onto the rocks. And also, when the tide changed after about 2 hours, I suppose when the tide's running its strongest, I did get the anchor did drag. It dragged about 215. It drags about 35 foot, which is just over the length of the boat. It's not it's not a huge amount, but it's a very small bay there. So if it did that in about less than an hour. So if it's dragging at that rate, then if you went to sleep 2 or 3 hours later, you'd be right on those rocks. So when we started dragging, I thought, well, look, the swell's not too bad, and I just came in down through the entrance. The entrance fairly easy, as long as there's no. You can tell that it would be rough if you had a swell breaking into it. That would be terrible. But it's all right. It's a horrible day. But I came down here, favoured the western bank for the depth. Got to be quite careful not to cut off the approach to the pontoon, because I started to turn towards the pontoon and the alarm went off almost instantly. So you do have to stay right over the western side. You have to stay right over that side all the way in until you're almost adjacent to the pontoon, and then turn.